Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back. So I know I've been away for the last week or so, and that's because I took my second dose of the vaccine, and let me just tell you guys, maybe my body is just weak or something, but it did not feel good, okay? So I had like chills, I had a headache, my muscles felt like jello. Yeah, it was like that for like almost 3 days. So yeah, there was no way I could make a video. But with that being said, however, please get vaccinated if you can, if you live in a place where you can get vaccinated, because even though the vaccine feels terrible, just imagine if the vaccine feels that bad, how bad the actual thing will be, right? Anyways, I'm back now, and what are we talking about today? Well, today we are talking about SPACs once again. Yes, remember those? Those still exist. And those were all the rage back in 2020. And once the hype kind of left the market, I think everyone kind of forgot that they existed, and then SPACs crashed back down, and then now no one is talking about them anymore. However, I tend to think that these are the precise times where you should be talking or even investing in SPACs if that's your thing, if you were planning to at all. Because the time to buy them is when no one is watching, right? And this doesn't just apply to SPACs, this applies to everything. Like you gotta go in when no one is paying attention, because that's when you get the best prices, not when all the hype has already come through, right? So today we're gonna go through a few SPACs that you might want to add to your list, and in particular we're going to talk about the Chamath SPACs. So if you guys don't know who Chamath is, he is one of the earliest people on the Facebook executive team. He's not there anymore, but since then he has left to found his own investment company called Social Capital, and lately he's been known as the King of SPACs because he made this IPO series of SPACs that go from IPO all the way to IPO Z. A lot of them are not even out yet, but I think the latest one is IPOF, and a lot of ones that he made already completed. So he already made the SPAC deals, and a lot of famous companies he's been able to bring to the market using these IPO series SPACs. And that's super important in the SPAC world, I think, to have someone famous backing it with credentials. So for someone like Chamath, he's going to be able to do better deals and merge with better companies because he just has like the clout around him, right? He has more bargaining power. So people are going to prefer to merge with one of his SPACs rather than some like no-name SPAC with sponsors that you've never even heard of, right? And in my opinion, as long as you're not paying a crazy premium for it, it's better to go with a SPAC that has a famous person behind it rather than a no-name team. And by famous person, I don't mean like just like Kim Kardashian or something. I don't know, right? I wouldn't be surprised if she's sponsoring SPACs now, because she'll take like brand deals for everything, even though that's not related to like her line of work, right? Kind of like what she did with like that crypto called Ethereum Max, which is not the real Ethereum, by the way. But I'm talking about like famous people that actually have business credentials, right? So someone like Chamath would be a good example of someone who actually has a good business credential. So yeah, you want someone with a famous credential or famous background backing it rather than a SPAC with some no-name team. So Chamath's previous deals, for reference, were IPO A was Virgin Galactic, IPO B became Open Door, IPO C became Clover Health, which people kind of hated Clover Health at the beginning actually, and to be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan of that deal either, but hey, it's trading above what the NAV was, right, at $10, so it's trading at like 13 or something, and at one point I think it went to like almost 20 or over 20, but yeah, anyways, that one has been pretty successful too, and it's also become a Wall Street Bets favorite apparently, so hey, maybe I was wrong. And the latest one, IPOE, became SoFi, and this one I really like. I kind of swing traded this one, but I'm actually considering buying back in at some point because it is good for a long-term hold in my opinion. But anyways, you'll notice that I skipped IPOD and IPOF. And that's because those have not have like targets yet, right? Those are still looking for targets. So naturally, those are the first ones on today's list. So I will talk about IPOF first, actually, because this is the only one that actually has some rumors surrounding its target. So according to Bloomberg, back in May, IPOF is supposedly in talks to merge with Equinox. which is this series of gyms that is supposedly super high end. I don't know, I've never been to one, but apparently Graham Stephan goes to Equinox. So yeah, if you guys watch this channel, you guys probably know who Graham Stephan is, one of the biggest finance YouTubers here on YouTube. But this has me kind of conflicted, to be honest, because the main target of these IPO series SPACs is supposed to be tech, and Equinox is kind of, I don't know, in my opinion, is stretching it in the terms of like definitions of tech, right? But again, I can see how maybe this could be a great deal, because investing in a gym right now could be a great deal because things are opening back up, and naturally you'll see a high growth rate of gyms as people flood back into things like gyms and like indoor events and things like that, right? So I think that if you're doing like a year over year comparison between like now and like 2020, of course they like would be like 100% growth, right? Because people weren't even allowed to go to gyms for half the time like last year. So anyways, the market has decidedly not reacted well, though, to this news, as IPOF has been trading near its net asset value of $10 for a while now, even despite this rumor, and even after this rumor came out, right? So the way that it's looking at the chart, is crazy to me how IPOF was actually trading at $15 or around 50% above its NAV back in February. So this just goes to show, guys, valuation matter. And if you're paying $15 for a SPAC with no target, you're just kind of asking to get burned, in my opinion. So that's just a crazy high premium to be paying for a SPAC when you don't even know what the target will be. Personally, I would never pay above 10% net asset value, which is $11 it would be for a SPAC if the NAV was at 10. So this is considering if a SPAC has not announced a target. If it announces a target, then you have to look at what the target company's valuation is, right? So all bets are off once the target is announced. But pre-announcement, I would never pay above $11 for a SPAC, no matter who is behind it, even if it's Chamath or anyone else, even if it looks really good on paper. Anyways, this whole Equinox thing with IPOF is just a rumor right now, so it may or may not happen. But if it is Equinox, not that I'm bashing them or anything, but it just doesn't sound very exciting to me. And it's not just me saying that, right? Look at how the market is pricing IPOF. So right now it's at like $10.19, so it's trading like as if nothing happened, right? So it's just slightly above the NAV, and it's certainly not as exciting as, say, like IPOE with SoFi, in my opinion. So maybe for that reason you'd be more interested in IPOD. For more reasons, I hope, then it just has an interesting ticker. It spells iPod, right? But another reason might be that it is just a complete absolute mystery box, right? So I think that the market is pricing in that extra like unknown. So that's why it's trading at $10.44, a little bit higher than IPOF. And I think that because alphabetically is earlier, people are expecting it to go earlier. So people are expecting maybe a deal earlier, although that's not necessarily the case. As we saw with IPOE, it went before IPOD, even though alphabetically it's lower, right? But anyways, yeah, it could be anything. As I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be tech focused, although that's like the target that they're looking for is. So as I said, it's a complete mystery box, so I wouldn't hold my breath for something tech related. It could be anything, right? So that's it with the IPO series. If traditional tech is not what interests you, I have some good news for you, because this past week, Chamath actually came out with another 4 SPACs. So Chamath the SPAC King has decided to bless us with 4 biotech-focused SPACs, nicknamed the DNA series. So we have DNA A, DNA B, and DNA C, and DNA D. So what's interesting about these is that they're doing away with the whole units and warrants thing. Yeah, you heard right. So there's no units and there's no warrants. It's just straight up shares. I'm not exactly sure why he decided to do this. Maybe it's an effort to make things less complicated, especially seeing what happened with PSTH and the Universal Music deal. So that was like super complicated and it confused a lot of people. And a lot of brokerages can't even hold warrants anyways, right? So yeah, maybe it's just easier if it's only shares. But whatever the case might be, another benefit of these SPACs is actually that they have more targeted focus categories. So This is nice because shareholders will get a better and clearer idea of what to expect, what the target might be. So if you're wondering what those target categories are, DNA A is targeting neurology, DNA B is targeting oncology, DNA C is targeting organ-related things, DNA D is targeting immunology. So you guys can make up your own mind as to which one sounds the most interesting to you. Personally, if I had to pick from the four, I like the sound of DNA D, the immunology one, the best, because I think that with all this stuff that's been happening around the pandemic, immunology is going to be top of everyone's mind for the time being and for a long time to come as well. So with all these advancements in vaccine that we've seen in the past year or so, I wouldn't be surprised if new companies just blow up in valuation if there's some type of breakthrough in this field. And there's been a lot of investment into this field as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are going to be breakthroughs in this field because of just the sheer amount of money that's been poured into this field. So I just think that given all these four DNA series SPACs are trading around NAV right now. If you have some extra cash, it might be a good idea to park some money in these SPACs because the downside is rather limited because once again, the SPAC has an artificial floor because you can always redeem the shares for $10 per share. So yeah, your downside is limited, and if they find a good target, the upside could be relatively huge. But I'm not a doctor and I'm not a financial advisor by any means, and this is not my area of expertise, right? Biotech, I don't know anything about biotech, so don't just take my word for it. Please do your own research. I'm just giving my opinions and I'm just giving my 2 cents about it. So yeah, if you have thoughts about it, whether you think that DNA series is going to be a success or do you think that these series of SPACs is going to be a flop, let me know down in the comments, and let me know down in the comments what are your opinions surrounding this news. Anyways, I'll leave the video here for today. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video and consider subscribing if you like the series. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, links down below in the description as always. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.